Hello again, and welcome to Broadcasting Scotland. It's Tuesday, the 30th of August. I'm Andrew Wilson, and this is Scotland at 7. This evening, I have the latest daily update from Ukraine on day 188 of the illegal Russian war of aggression, and then I will look at today's headlines from Scotland and around the world. Ukrainian troops are mounting a long-awaited counter-offensive in the southern region of Kherson, military officials have said. Today we started offensive actions in various directions, including in the Kherson region, Ukraine's Southern Command spokesperson Natalia Humeniuk said yesterday. Kyiv's forces have broken through Russian defences in several sectors of the front line near the city of Kherson, according to a senior advisor to President Zelensky. Alexei Arestovich said Ukrainian forces were also shelling the ferries in the Kherson region that Moscow is using to supply Russian-occupied territory on the western bank of the Dnieper River. Ukrainian forces have heightened artillery fire in the south. Several brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces increased the weight of artillery fires in frontline sectors across southern Ukraine early on Monday, the UK Ministry of Defence said in its latest report. Ukrainian long-range precision strikes also continue to disrupt Russian resupplies. A Ukrainian barrage of rockets left the Russian-occupied town of Nova Kakhovka in the Kherson region without water or power. The town lies just to the east of the city of Kherson. A team of inspectors from the UN nuclear watchdog have arrived in Kyiv on Monday night, en route to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine. The International Atomic Energy Agency chief, Rafael Grossi, said a team will visit the plant from Wednesday to Saturday. European Union defence ministers are set to pave the way for the establishment of an EU training mission for Ukrainian forces, the bloc's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, has said. Russia has faced numerous failures with Iranian-made drones acquired from Tehran this month for use in its war with Ukraine, according to a senior US administration official. Russia had received the delivery of the Mohajer-6 and Shahid series unmanned aerial vehicles over several days this month. At least 4 people were killed and 4 wounded in Russian shelling of Kharkiv, according to the regional governor, Oleh Syniehubov. Russian forces have killed 2 people and injured 4 others in Donetsk, according to that region's governor, Pavlo Kirilenko. And Russia is struggling to find more soldiers to fight in Ukraine and has expanded recruitment efforts by eliminating the upper age limit and by tapping into prisons. Vladimir Putin decreed last week that his army would increase by about 10% to 1.15 million service people starting January next year. A total of £84 million has been paid to families since the Scottish Child Payment was introduced less than 18 months ago. The payment of £20 per week, unique to Scotland and the UK, began in February 2021 as a direct measure to tackle child poverty. It provides regular additional financial support to parents and carers to help with the costs of caring for a child. As of the 30th of June 2022, it is estimated that 104,000 children were actively in receipt of the Scottish Child Payment, and 1.4 million payments have now been made. By the end of this year, the payment will increase to £25 per week and extend to include all eligible children under the age of 16, when it is expected that over 400,000 children will potentially be eligible. Responding to the latest official statistics on the Scottish Child Payment published today, the Deputy First Minister, John Swinney, said, "We are taking a number of urgent actions to address the current cost of living crisis. This includes efforts to maximise financial support to those most in need so that they get all the money that they are entitled to. The ongoing work to extend eligibility for and increase the value of the Scottish Child Payment is a vital part of these efforts. We created our game-changing Scottish Child Payment to provide direct financial support to tackle child poverty. Every penny of support is absolutely vital at the moment, which is why we are using our devolved powers and resources to make a difference for as many households as we can. He went on, we doubled the payment to £20 in April and will increase it to £25 when we extend it to under 16s by the end of the year, a 150% rise in this important benefit, which is one of 5 family benefits we are now delivering. The Scottish Government, he finalised, want to support families during these difficult times. Striking refuse workers in Edinburgh returned to work in the early hours of this morning and immediately set about clearing up the rubbish bags and overflowing bins which had accumulated over the past 12 days. Strikes in other local authority areas will end tomorrow. Despite an increased offer which gave council workers a 5% pay rise plus a cash cost of living payment which would have given an extra £2,000 to the lowest paid workers, the unions have recommended rejecting the offer and the strikes will continue next week. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said that the new offer on the table from COSLA is backed by a further £200 million of Scottish Government funding over this and next year. This ensures that the previous 5% offer is topped up to £1,925 for all those earning below £39,000. For those earning £20,000, it delivers £2,000, equivalent to 10%. Ms Sturgeon said, I understand the pressures workers face, which is why we have exhausted all options in the last few days to make more funding available to support those on the lowest incomes. If we could go further, we would, but the Scottish Government budget is finite. I hope trade union members accept the offer. Following a meeting of the Financial Services Growth and Development Board to discuss help available from banks and financial organisations for customers navigating the cost emergency, the Deputy First Minister John Swinney said that the Scottish Government and the financial services industry were committed to maintaining an ongoing dialogue and sharing insight and innovation to ensure targeted and timely support is available for all households and businesses most vulnerable to the rapidly escalating cost crisis. The Financial Services Growth and Development Board acts as the main forum for engagement between the financial services industry and the Scottish Government. Its members include representatives from major banks, the Financial Conduct Authority, pensions and investment companies, and the Association of British Insurers, amongst others. Mr Swinney said, we actively encourage people and businesses, no matter their size, to speak up and seek help from their financial providers as soon as they think they might need it. There is no stigma with struggling financially. The Scottish Government stands ready to work alongside the financial services industry in doing all it can to help customers manage their financial situation and navigate the challenging economic environment ahead. The Scottish Government and industry will continue to partner throughout the cost crisis to tackle the immediate challenges of today, while also working together to address key underlying structural issues. Together we are seeking out opportunities to coordinate investment and planning to realise the National Strategy for Economic Transformation's vision for Scotland to become a sustainable and inclusive economy. New projections show that Scotland is set for a future of slower GDP growth, shrinking population and a smaller labour force, which the SNP says is the result of UK government policies. The latest economic and fiscal projections for Scotland's economy by the Scottish Fiscal Commission show that Scotland's projected growth as part of the UK at only 0.9% per year on average between 2028 and 2071-72. The data also highlighted that Scotland's population could drop by as much as 900,000 people by 2072, with its labour force also seeing a drop. The SNP has said these predictions show the staggering cost of continued Westminster control, and independence is now more vital than ever to ensure a better future. Commenting, the SNP MSP Michelle Thompson said, these projections show the grim reality that Scotland faces as a consequence of a future under Westminster control, underlining how vital it is for people to have a choice of a better future as an independent country. whilst Northern Ireland's economy reaches a 15-year high. As part of the world's largest single market, Scotland is being left to suffer the impact of Westminster and its damaging Brexit obsession, leading to a predicted 50 years of economic decline and stagnation for Scotland, despite Scots overwhelmingly voting to remain in the EU and in the single market. This is not the future Scotland wants or deserves, and that is why people voted to have the choice of a future where we can build a better, more prosperous and independent country away from the failing Westminster system and impact of continued Brexit chaos. Gypsy and traveller groups are calling on the government to ensure thousands of households living in park homes are not excluded from its energy bill support schemes this winter as bills soar. The scheme will pay out a total of £400 to all UK households in the UK with a domestic electricity connection between October and March, with monthly payments administered by energy suppliers. Thousands of Gypsy and traveller households live on sites owned privately or by local authorities where most do not have their own domestic electricity contract. The charity Friends, Families and Travellers warned that they would not qualify for the scheme under its current provisions, as residents pay the site owner for energy. There are also concerns that people living in roadside camps and houseboats who rely on gas cylinders and fuel-powered generators may miss out on payments as they have no direct contract with an energy supplier. They already pay high prices for energy use, with charities reporting that a gas cylinder costs between £70 and £85 and would last between 5 and 7 days in winter for a family of 4. Those relying on generators have been hit with dramatic petrol and diesel price rises in the past year. The Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy said further support equivalent to the £400 payment would be made available for those living in a park home, houseboat and energy consumers living off the grid. It previously said an announcement on this would be made in the autumn and did not provide any further comment. Rural areas of Scotland, which are not connected to the gas network, face the double blow of colder weather in Scotland than the rest of the UK. However, heating oil and bottled gas, which have also increased in price, have not been included in the cost of living support schemes. Crime is at the lowest level recorded by police for a 12-month period since 1974, according to statistics published today. The latest national statistics Recorded Crime in Scotland bulletin for the year ending June 2022 shows that there was a 5% fall in police recorded crime overall compared to the same period in the previous year. This was primarily driven by a reduction in coronavirus restrictions crimes. However, the statistics, which cover the year ending June 2022 and the previous 4 years, show that recorded crime is 5% lower than before the pandemic in the year ending June 2018 and has fallen by a total of 43% since 2006-07. The overall reduction in recorded crime is reflected in the Scottish Crime and Justice Survey for 2019-2020, published in March 2021, which shows that 1 in 8 adults were victims of crime in 2019-2020, significantly less than the 1 in 5 who were victims of crime in the period 2008-2009. The survey also shows that people living in Scotland are less likely to be victims of crime than people living in England and Wales, where more than 13% of adults were victims of crime in 2019-2020. Over the same period, from 2008 to 2020, the proportion of adults in Scotland who felt safe walking alone after dark in their local area increased from 66% to 77%. The Justice Secretary, Keith Brown, said, "We know that Scotland continues to be a safe place to live, where the vast majority of people do not experience crime." The latest figures today show recorded crime is at the lowest level seen since 1974 and down 43% since 2007. This is welcome, as it means that every year there are thousands of fewer victims in Scotland than there were 15 years ago. He continued, "But there is more to be done. Continuing to reduce crime and the harm it causes, both individuals and our society as a whole, is central to our ambitious vision to reform our justice system. Former residents of a hostel in Rwanda, who were forced to leave under a controversial deal to house asylum seekers flown from the UK, say that they have been left homeless and destitute while the property now remains unused. The men, all of whom are survivors of the Rwandan genocide, had lived in the Hope Hostel in Kigali for up to 8 years. But they were told to vacate 2 days after the UK Home Secretary, Priti Patel, signed a £120 million agreement to send refugees arriving in the UK by small boats to the East African country. Some former residents of the hostel were still students who say that they have lost their families in the genocide and now have nowhere to go. The UK government has so far failed to send a single asylum seeker to Rwanda. One former resident of 8 years said, "We don't know what to do. In public, government officials are saying they are going to help us, but no help has come. We are very worried, but we are suffering. It pains me to see that the hostel is still empty when we are homeless on the street." The Rwandan government has been criticised by Amnesty International for suppressing freedom of expression. Hope Hostel in Kigali's Kagugu neighbourhood was built by Rwandan donors to accommodate up to 190 survivors of the 1994 genocide, when hundreds of thousands of people, mostly from the Tutsi minority, were murdered during 3 months of mass killings. Formerly known as the Association of Student Survivors of Genocide Hostel, residents said there were about 40 people, mostly men, living there when Patel signed her deal. Boris Johnson promised that tens of thousands of asylum seekers who have crossed the Channel and arrived in the UK by what the UK government describes as irregular means would be sent to Rwanda, but so far none have been sent following legal challenges. The first judicial review of the policy, brought by asylum seekers, 2 charities and a union representing Border Force staff, will begin in September. Patel toured the hostel in April, but survivors of genocide who lived there were dispatched on a day trip to prevent them from disrupting her visit. The deal between Rwanda and the UK, which was signed in April, has been widely condemned as inhuman, illegal, unworkable, and prohibitively expensive. The UK government is said to have paid an initial £120 million to the Rwandan government for implementing the plan, but will have to pay additional costs for housing, food, and travel. Eurostar has decided to stop direct services from London to Disneyland Paris from next summer, citing the fallout from Brexit and COVID. The high-speed train operator said on Tuesday it was scrapping trains running from the British capital to the Disneyland site in Marne-la-Vallée in the eastern Paris suburbs. "We have taken the decision not to run the direct Disney service in summer 2023, it said. Eurostar, which operates the rail service linking London with Paris and Brussels, added it would review options for the Disney route for 2024 over the course of the next year. New national guidelines will make it easier for retiring NHS staff to return to support the NHS as it continues to recover from the pandemic. The arrangements for Retire and Return streamlines the process to let experienced staff take up a part-time post while drawing their pension. It was developed in partnership with employers and trade unions following calls for a simplified process. The Health and Social Care Cabinet Secretary Hamza Yusuf said, "Employees who are considering retirement have skills and experience that are invaluable to the NHS, and I am pleased that we have been able to answer the demand for a quicker and easier process to let those who wish to continue in a part-time role to do so. This plan allows staff to apply to return to work part-time when they start the process to retire. It can be the same job or a different role in the same job family, and some will prefer to return to a lower grade with fewer responsibilities, or to take on a mentoring role with newer members of staff." Although a number of health boards already operate a retire and return policy, the NHS Scotland Interim National Agreement on Retire and Return, which launched today, sets out a simple and standardised process across the country. The interim arrangement has been developed by an accelerated process agreed in partnership with employers and the trade unions. A Fife-wide appeal to raise £100,000 for a new lifeboat station in Anstruther has received backing from the University of St Andrews Community Fund. The local RNLI appeal, launched as part of a wider £4 million fundraising drive to cover the cost of bringing a new state-of-the-art lifeboat to the East Neuk, aims to ensure the Shannon-class lifeboat has a purpose-built home, as well as providing its crew and the local community with a multi-use facility that will take them into a new age of lifesaving. Ainster Lifeboat Station is home to the only all-weather lifeboat on the Fife coast, and serving one of the busiest waterways in the UK. It's important that crews can reach those needing their help as quickly as possible. However, as volunteer crew member and marine biologist Emily Haig explained, after 30 years, Ainster's much-loved Mersey-class lifeboat, which has saved around 550 people in that time, needs replacing. Speaking during a visit to the existing lifeboat station by the University of St Andrews Principal and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dame Sally Mapston, Emily Haig said, "Technology has moved on and we're expecting a new Shannon-class boat in 2023. It's the most agile all-weather lifeboat in the RNLI fleet, and with the benefit of increased speed, has the potential to help us halve our response times. As we know, every second counts when it comes to saving lives." Emily explained that the fundraising appeal includes plans to create a new boathouse as the current one isn't big enough to house the new Shannon lifeboat. She told Professor Dame Sally Mapston that we urgently need the community's help to fund a purpose-built lifeboat station and slipway at Ainster to carry on our rescue mission. As we don't receive any government funding, we are counting on the kindness of our supporters to raise £100,000 towards the total cost of the project. With the new station, we'll not only have room to house the new lifeboat, our inshore boat and both their launching systems, but we will also have the latest technology with screens for live transmission during rescues, weather and shipping data, as well as crew availability. This is all vital from an operational point of view. Also integral to the new station will be a training room where crew members will have space to hone their boat handling skills. Welcoming the funding support, the long-serving Cox, Michael Bruce, said, "We are delighted to have the support of the University of St Andrews. Their £3,000 grant from the Community Fund will be put specifically towards this room. Providing ongoing training is essential in making sure we make the right decisions at key moments in rescue operations." Ainster Lifeboat is also entirely dependent on its volunteer crew, which has included members of staff and students from the University of St Andrews. And that is all that we have for you this evening. In making these programmes, Broadcasting Scotland relies on the support of viewers and others who value our distinctive approach to news, current affairs and culture. Please help us to continue to make these programmes, to continue to develop the station and to make new programmes for you. To everyone who has donated and to everyone who has signed up to make a regular monthly payment, thank you very much indeed. Our programmes will always be free to view. However, if you can afford £5 per month, please consider becoming a Broadcasting Scotland supporter. We have set ourselves a target of adding 10,000 new subscribers to enable us to employ staff to make more programmes. There are other ways in which you can contribute to our work. If you would like to volunteer to work with Broadcasting Scotland, either behind the scenes or in front of the cameras, or in any other way that helps our work and promotes the station, then please visit our website www.broadcastingscotland.scot and send us a message there. You can find us on Twitter at BroadcastScot. Please like and retweet us there. And you can also find us on Facebook by searching for Broadcasting Scotland. When you're watching us on YouTube, it would be great if you would like and subscribe to Broadcasting Scotland on that platform. Meantime, we will be here again tomorrow with the next edition of Scotland at 7, so please tune in and join us again then. But that's the way it is at very nearly Scotland at 7:25. I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us and who has been watching this evening. On this day in 1915, the Royal Research Ship Discovery reached the Falkland Islands on a mission to rescue the polar explorer Ernest Shackleton, only to find that he had already been rescued. I'm away to rescue my tea. I hope that you have a very peaceful evening. Bye-bye.